Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, I thought I would jump in here and give you a brief technical analysis on ANKR to see exactly what's been going on and what we might expect to happen next. As we get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with that said, done out of the way, let's dive down into the charts here and take a look at what's going on with ANKR. Just a kind of a brief reminder on that weekly chart to start with, guys. We are of course in these 5 impulse waves to the upside. We obviously are trading sideways down here at the bottom of wave 4 in a very much a similar way that we were at the bottom of wave 2 before things really heated up nicely for this top of wave 3. Ultimately, from March 2020 through to the highs of March 2021, a 378-day move. ANKR here has actually moved up 34,240%. To put that into context, Bitcoin moved up 1,600 for the same time period, Ethereum 5,000 for the same time period. We had Cardano at 14,000, VeChain at 18,000, Harmony 1 at 18,000. So ANKR has significantly outperformed all of those. So pretty good gains had been made on this journey to the upside. Can be frustrating when we are trading sideways for such a significant portion of time, but once you actually get this thing popping, it moves rapidly to the upside. So good to kind of see this on the weekly chart. It helps you really get that structure of where things are and how things are forming out as we look to push up to some interesting heights here for ANKR. So what we're going to do is jump down into our daily view, and this actually then allows us to take a look at a couple of things, right? So here we have a standard Fibonacci retracement tool. Okay, this particular fib is using the high of wave 3, so the performance of wave 3 here, and the bottom of wave 4. This is then showing us moving up to 77 cent. With this being said though, we can of course go a little bit further than just this. If we actually zoom out a tad, in fact I might actually do this on the weekly, make it a little bit easier to see, guys, because we can actually use, now we've got 3 anchor points. We can use the low of wave 2, the high of wave 3, and the low of wave 4 to help actually give us a more accurate picture of where things are potentially going to go during this next leg, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take the low area of wave 2 just at the bottom here. We're going to take it and go up to our high of wave 3, and then we're going to come down to our low of wave 4. This actually then shows us with ANKR moving up to 95.7 cent in this 5th wave. Okay, so again, what we've done here is we've taken the trend lines of our second wave to the downside, the trend of our third wave to the upside, and our most recent trend to the downside with wave 4. This has then allowed us to predict where our 5th wave is likely to go, and this actually comes in at 95.7 cent. This is an important thing to note because when we actually take a look at our, let me just edit this, make sure this only sticks down to the weeks here, that's fine. And when we actually jump down into our daily and we take a look at this one, obviously this is a more conservative approach. This is probably really good for the newbies in the space, showing us that we could reach a 77 cent area. Of course, we obviously said that we were likely to overwick this and head towards that theoretical dollar. That $1 level is going to be a psychological barrier. You're going to find so much selling pressure there. It's the same thing that we saw with Bitcoin when Bitcoin hit $67,000. There were a lot of sell orders already set up, good to go on that number, meaning that the second that we actually hit $67,000 Bitcoin, we went and had a correction to the downside. The same thing would happen here with ANKR. The second that we even approach that kind of area of $1, there's going to be a lot of selling pressure occurring. This is potentially around the end of the bull run, so I do anticipate that that's pretty much the theoretical limit on where ANKR is likely to go. So when we jump back up into our weekly chart here, and we can see that actually 95.7 cent is the theoretical top, we might not actually even get quite close enough to that area of $1. So it's important that we acknowledge that. Now, depending on how risk adverse you are, you might want to kind of really consider your exit strategies around 95 cent. If, however, you are wanting to be really conservative about things, then actually 77 cent is a pretty good ROI, specifically even if you're getting in at 21 cent. You're doing a few multiplications on your investment, and you're going to be locking in those profits before you actually have to kind of see the top of the bull run. So again, if you're really conservative, new to the space, maybe it's the first time you're in crypto, then 77 cent is a pretty good price target that I do anticipate actually coming in here for ANKR. So everything's looking pretty good on the charts, right? We've obviously had a good kind of push to the upside, and on this daily we can obviously see some good progress occurring. We're about 724% to 77 cents. So again, we've got a fair bit of gains still in the tank here as we head up to the upside. Obviously down here, this was our buy zone area. Okay, this was an area that we were looking to buy into. This came in at 6 cents. down to a theoretical low of 4.1. We never actually went down as low as 4.1, but there were a couple of opportunities in this buying area here. We are yet to actually go ahead and tackle out the 618-702-786. These are, of course, going to be the main areas that we are looking to battle our way through. Okay, so 15.2 cents, 16.7, and 18.1. This is going to be a major area of resistance for us. With that being said, though, the cup and handle pattern does actually target 18.9 cent, which would put us firmly above that 786 at 18.1 cent, meaning that actually we'll have a good signal to move us to the upside as this second leg of our, or third leg, I should say, of our bull run and our impulsive waves to the upside comes to a close. So everything's looking pretty good as we continue this growth for ANKR. Now, as we jump down into the hourly, what we were covering before, guys, was this breakout scenario that we saw. Okay, so if I actually expand this up, bring this back down, obviously we had this Elliott triangle. Okay, so Elliott theory, we had the Elliott wave triangle here, and then we had the breakout, right? And obviously what we're talking about here is this impulsive waves that normally follow it. Now, what we're tracking here is to make sure that we are sticking with an ABC correction. Now, this is a little bit of an anomaly just here, and because this actually could be more of an indication of you know, an impulsive wave to the downside. I don't think it is. I think actually we're just looking at it on the wrong timeline, because these things here are very, very close. If we actually maybe look this up on the 4-hourly, we actually might get a slightly different kind of approach to it, which allows us to continue to see this growth to the downside, even if the 8-hourly might be a better way to actually analyze this. So we can actually see, you know, we take a look at all of the patterns that we're forming here as we're pushing to the downside, and what we're looking for after this impulsive explosion to the upside is to take this wave 2 and find a nice low for it. So I'm going to pop it over here for now and just move these ones over for a second. These are not actually in any kind of accurate position. I just put them out of the way. So what we're looking for here is basically to see this this ABC correction, so A, B, and C, right? This is what we're looking for. And actually on the 8-hourly, this is quite a neat way to kind of view this data. So we can obviously see here the ABCs quite nicely, and the breakout that we had after we got to the E. Now, obviously the impulsive wave 1 would actually be full of, you know, basically an impulsive wave, 5 impulsive waves itself. And then obviously the correction wave 2 is an ABC correction. So that's what we're looking for here. Whether or not we've actually found the bottom of our wave C is yet to be said. We could actually come down to a support level of 9 cent before we actually then trigger off this next huge explosive wave 3, right? And that's what we're really looking for now. We've kind of gone through the pain of A, we've pushed up to the B, and now we're pushing down to the C. We've technically already gone lower than A, so we can of course call this the low of C, but ultimately we can of course look for a little bit more on to the downside if needs be. With that being said, though, everything's looking pretty good for another move to the upside in a really big way now, right? Because ultimately we've had wave 1, we've had wave 2, and then obviously wave 3 is usually the biggest wave out of all of them, right? And then again, this could be our way to actually target this 18.9 cent target of ours, right? So that cup and handle. So as you can see, the next wave is a big explosion to the upside, followed by, again, another potential triangle here. Okay, so we'll monitor that 4th wave ahead of that last explosion to take us up to our target for our cup and handle. And again, then once we're at the top of 5, this is normally followed by big ABC. And again, that would be in line with something that we've seen previously as well. So ultimately, ANKR can be seen and can be deemed as frustrating, but ultimately everything is actually playing out quite nicely. Nothing moves in straight lines, and actually when you start seeing the patterns in the data, you can kind of expect, you can kind of understand what to happen, what's going to happen next, right? So good kind of progress is being made here, even though it is a downside after a big explosion to the upside. Almost 100% retracement at this point. It isn't too unusual for that that second wave. It is usually a pretty big one. But that being said, you know, as we continue this growth to the upside, we are looking for a pretty good move. And again, this is going to potentially take us right the way up to that 618. It could potentially find resistance there before pulling back into a 4th wave ahead of actually moving up past all of these key areas into our 18.9 cent zone. So again, we're looking for some pretty interesting moves to occur here with ANKR in the month of November. So again, we'll be looking forward to seeing all of how all those things actually play out. Guys, if we're ever in doubt that we do zoom out, we pay attention to what is going on with that weekly, because the weekly is of course the cheat sheet. It allows us to see the bigger structure and where things are going. Obviously, this is a part of a big 5 impulse waves to the upside. And again, inside all of these, there are multiple waves, which obviously we are looking at on the daily and, of course, on that hourly chart. So, guys, if we're ever in doubt, just zoom out. Pay attention to the overall structure. Everything's looking very, very good. And we are looking to move up nicely towards 95.7 cent. If you're conservative, consider 77 cent. Otherwise, everything is pretty much looking pretty good here for ANKR. So guys, hopefully you have found this video useful and informative. If you have, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.